feminine energy, masculine energy. Am I in my feminine too much? Am I in my masculine too much? What does any of this even mean? Today, I want to dive in to feminine and masculine energy and how it shows up in your everyday life and how you can use it to actually boost your productivity. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Krizia. I'm on a mission to help you glow up from the inside out. So if that sounds like you, hit the subscribe button. Now, let's get into today's topic because we have a lot to cover. I wasn't planning to make this video. This idea actually came to me today. I was doing some house chores and I was realizing that wow, it's so interesting that yesterday I was complete opposite energy of what I was today. I did not feel like leaning into my typical to-do list. This helped me have a self-realization in that moment. Neither one of those days were better than the other because both are very essential to well-being and productivity. And I know that most of us may know what feminine and masculine energy even means. And some of you might be thinking, what is she talking about? I am a woman. I am not masculine, or I am a man and I am not feminine. But just to clarify, we're speaking specifically about energy. So whether you identify as a woman or a man, everyone has feminine or masculine energy within them. That is what keeps us human beings balanced. A lot of times we are leaning more in one energy than the other, but they're both beneficial to our happiness, our health, our growth, our productivity, all of it. So let's just get that straight first and foremost. We all have masculine and feminine energy. So feminine energy refers to creativity, intuition, and emotional intelligence would be identified as our feminine energy. It's relational. It's basically what a woman intuitively feels. Now, on the other hand, masculine energy looks more like being assertive, having more structure, and being more goal-oriented, okay? I like to describe it as feminine energy is allowing, flowing. If we're too much in our feminine energy, we won't really get much done because we're constantly in woo, relax, flow, which is amazing. But if we are too much in our feminine energy, we may not get certain things done, we may not achieve our goals, and we may even be taken advantage of in some situations because we are this soft flowing being. Masculine energy really helps balance that flow. Now, if we're too much in our masculine energy, that may look like overly independent and very hardworking and not allowing and accepting love, being way obsessed with being goal-oriented. Action, take action, take action. So when there becomes an imbalance where you're too much in your masculine, it can really shift the dynamic in your own life, your goals, and your relationships around you and how you interact with the world. So it is very important to have a healthy balance as much as possible in both. This is what keeps life interesting. If everything was perfectly smooth and one way, of course, it would eventually get boring. So now the reason why I want to talk about this in productivity is because going back to the example of me in the beginning where I said on one day I had all these things written down in my notebook that I wanted to get done that day. Intuitively, I knew I wasn't feeling aligned with that. I had to have a moment of reflection and realize that is okay because I am probably not leaning in my masculine energy today. I know it could be helpful for some of you guys who may be sometimes hard on yourself because you're not fulfilling the productivity side in the way that we mostly know it, because most people think of productivity as get it done, take action, plan it out, organize. That is a different type of energy. That is more masculine energy. There are days where I feel pretty self-aware now where I know when I feel those days where I'm not really in my masculine energy, I will have those days where I feel more intuitively relaxed, like I want to just be in flow, and not necessarily being lazy where I want to just do nothing, but it's a different energy and different approach to my day. This is me wanting to be in my feminine today. I want to have a soft day. So just reframing my mindset into a different perspective, I was able to then shift my energy, not feel bad about it, not feel like I was being lazy or unproductive. Instead, I decide to read a book. I decide to listen to a podcast that fuels my creativity, and that is totally fine. Both are productive. So I just kind of want to help you reframe your mindset around productivity. It's not necessarily always going to look like what maybe social media makes productivity to look like, where it's like planning on your computer, writing down all your thoughts. And I mean, journaling can be very feminine and not necessarily masculine. Following your intuition on days where you feel softer, more creative, more inspired, more flow, not overly aggressive and overachieving. So I want to make this clear because I don't want you to get confused and to mix up the idea that certain tasks are masculine and feminine, because that is not the case. It's not the task, it's the feeling. It's the feeling that you have and embody for that day, in that moment. But just know that it all comes down to the feeling of how you feel. So you can feel feminine and inspired to journal, and you can also be masculine journaling, more so of a to-do list, logical thinking, not necessarily overly creative. Again, the energy of feminine, going back to the definition, is more intuitive and creative, tapped in to her being and flow. Masculine energy can tend to feel more analytical, organizing, being assertive. That hopefully helped you distinguish the difference. And I often feel like society tends to box women who love their careers into a masculine energy, and that's not necessarily always true, because you can definitely be feminine and in your feminine energy. If anything, I think it's even more empowering to the feminine energy to have a business, a side project, a passion that you feel inspired and creative by. A woman can have a business and operate it from a very feminine energy, which will be from a perspective of flow and creativity. It's how you approach the business that can determine your feminine or masculine energy. And it can interchange every moment, every day. It's not like a fixed thing, you know, it's just being aware and having that self-awareness that energy can lean feminine or masculine at any point. And it's just up to you to be self-aware and figure out if you feel okay with that in that moment or in that project, or if you want to lean more the opposite way. So balancing the energies really does help with your productivity, because your feminine energy will be sort of your birth of creativity, ideas, to then take those creative ideas and turn them into goals, and then tracking those goals so that you can achieve them. I would argue that most who are successful have mastered the balance of feminine and masculine energy, because it does require both active listening to your intuition and active planning and goal setting. Leaning into your feminine energy will also help you become more emotionally intelligent. And that is just basically self-awareness and being able to have empathy for others, which can lead to great leadership and being able to work with different personalities. Okay, so some of the benefits of masculine energy in general too is providing structure, because I know a lot of us tend to be really in our feminine, which, like I mentioned, can lead us to lack of follow through on our goals. Give the structure to guide our emotions into a healthy place, and then redirect our focus and shift our energy into our goals, our passions, and providing just overall structure into our life. Another benefit of masculine energy is time management. Sometimes I notice that when I'm too much in my feminine, I tend to not make the best use of my time. And although that is great for some days when we're in our rest and recharge period, if we're not aware and intentional of that rest period, it can easily become procrastination or just wasting time. Stay disciplined when needed, because it is a skill to build discipline, and being aware of that is very important, because even if you aren't starting a business, discipline is so important in everything that you do. Discipline in setting boundaries, discipline in having a workout routine, being healthy, being fit, or just being disciplined in your morning and night routine for your own well-being. And if you don't have structure, you can't tap into your creative moments as a feminine woman. You need to have a little bit of discipline, which will then carve out time for you as a woman in her feminine energy to be able to think of creative ideas, to feel inspired. Because if we're not creating that discipline, it's very hard to feel inspiration, and that can wound both your masculine and feminine energy. By nature, a woman is more of a nurturer, But again, like I said, it's important to be cautious. Being too masculine in relationships was something I was very guilty of because I grew up in a household where my mom was a hyper independent woman. I've become aware that not everything needs to be aggressive and I can do it all myself. Like sometimes it's okay to accept help. I'm realizing now in my adult life. And that was so new to me a couple years ago, where it was really uncomfortable for me to feel in my feminine energy because I grew up around a lot of masculine energy from both my mom and my dad. Having that feminine energy has allowed me to flow in both my business life and in my personal life and in my relationships. And I will honestly tell you that it feels more amazing and relaxed. Being too much of my masculine caused a lot of friction, expecting people to know how you feel, expecting people to do things a certain way, and just having kind of more of that closed-minded approach. I feel really great about where I'm at now, and I hope that you can too feel this way, because it is so important to have that nurturing side, but also have that discipline side. If you made it to the end of this video, comment down below energy so I know that you made it to the end, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!